Survivor's ready. Go!
Travis spoken.
Boston Rob and Amber are gonna do it.
This is a business trip, as I like to say.
You, Brad Culpepper.
I'm tired of you and the fucking chicken.
You can call me the puppet master. They can be my little puppets.
It's not like you're making a deal with the devil here.
You get to milk your own milk, I guess.
Who the hell voted for me?
Chicken.
We got enough rocks here, too. We could build a pretty decent shelter just using rocks.
I'm supposed to talk glamour to you. You understand that better?
Direct from Hobart, it's time for the only Survivor podcast in Australia dedicated to Survivor, bringing you all the latest interviews, episodes, and opinions from the greatest reality show on the planet. It's Survivor Oz, and here's your host, Ben Waterworth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Survivor Oz, Australia's #1 TV and film podcast, as we come to you for another Oztopsy episode 11. And we're into the final month now of the 30th season of Worlds Apart. As always, plenty to talk to, including talking to Ozlets. I've got 4 on the line tonight, including a man from Melbourne. His name is Alex Morella. Alex, welcome back to Survivor Oz.
Thank you very much, Ben. Very happy to be back.
I'm glad to have you back. It's been a few weeks. How's it all been going over there in the land of Morella? Good, yes?
Yes, good. Very busy as always, but home, so I get a chance to actually get on and have a bit of a talk, which is good.
Beautiful. I'm glad. Also joining us from Melbourne is a man who has an itchy beard. It's Cable Brandon. Cable, welcome back to Survivor Oz.
Very itchy.
I'm
yes.
very devastated we didn't have a hashtag for that. We had a hashtag for, what was it, Rodney time, but we didn't have a hashtag for itchy beard.
Yeah, no, I'm going to start the itchy beard hashtag.
Yeah, that was a memorable quote. I like it. Speaking of itchy beards, Noah Groves is back. Hello, Noah.
Well, tonight it's itchy cats.
Okay. Just gotta leave it there.
Did I cut out?
You did. It was a very awkward cutout. It was just like, tonight it's itchy cats, and then you just stopped.
Yeah, I'm in my shed and there's a cat in here and I don't own a cat. So if I suddenly disappear from the episode like just a minute ago, it's because I'm chasing a cat out the door. So
is it just like an
I just suddenly
epidemic in
realised
Snug?
itchy cats sounds a bit weird.
Well, you didn't say... Yeah. Is this like an epidemic in Snug at the moment?
It's just another misadventure in my crazy life.
Sounds like it.
Ben.
Hashtag Snug.
There's always something going on in Snug.
There is. There is. Speaking of things going on in Snug, Jared Lubeck is back. Hello, Jared.
Hello, it's good to be back.
Excuse me, I'm just having a mouthful of coffee there. How has it been in the last 4 hours since I spoke to you on... We did Euros Vision earlier, so... I mean, has much happened in your life in the last 4 hours?
Not really. Had a little bit of a nap. Ate some dinner. Just the usual.
What was for dinner? What was for dinner tonight in the Lubeck household?
It was just a bread roll, actually. It was pretty sort of plain. Bread roll with some ham and cheese. I mean, it's not gourmet, but I mean, it does the job.
Tough times in Emu Plains at the moment?
Yeah, on bare bones rations here.
Yep. It's the, it seems to be that way. Well, I knew the storms were big in Sydney the other week, but I didn't realise that you're running out of food. Okay. Please send your food to Emu Plains. Jared needs to eat.
And Snug if you want.
Oh, well, no, Snug's fine. You just got cat seat. Episode 11 of Worlds Apart. Let's start with you, Cable. What did you think of this week's?
It took a while to get going, I thought. It felt like it was a bit of a down after everything that was happening last week, but it definitely had a great ending. Great ending.
Okay, Jared?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think that Tribal Council was just kind of a great way to end the episode. Overall, I haven't loved the season, but I think it's getting to that time where things are sort of finally going to shake up and we'll sort of see what happens in the next couple of weeks.
Mr. Morella?
I'm still trying to process the tribal completely because I'm partially devastated because Shireen was my pony, so that kind of, as you can imagine, my mood was also changing throughout the tribal council as I went from feeling safe and getting money to not getting money to just kind of waiting happily. But I'm still trying to figure out kind of who came out on top from it all.
Noah?
Well, it was much, much better than episode 3, but that's another story. I loved this season, but I thought this episode was great. Going into the tribal, I'm like, yeah, it's going to be an obvious boot, but this was a really solid episode. And then the tribal, just the cherry on top. So I haven't loved this season. I think the past 2 weeks it's really heated up, and I really enjoyed this episode. I thought there was a lot of good stuff throughout the entirety of it.
Well, obviously we're going to talk about the final tribal council because that was quite interesting how that all played out. But we started off with Shireen and Mike sleeping on the beach. I found that interesting because we've talked a lot about that in other episodes when, alliances are split and there's a bit of a divide. Is it a good idea to separate yourself even further by going to sleep out on the beach? I know there was a lot of discussion, Noah, we had with that in our rankings cast with certain contestants. Just because you're on the outs, should you go and sleep separately from everybody?
I didn't really dive too much into the sleeping business, but yeah, that's not a good thing to do, but at the same time, I don't think sleeping with Dan, well, he is easily persuaded, but I don't think sleeping with Dan is going to win any favour over, so while it's probably not the smartest thing to do, I wouldn't read too much into that. I don't think it was like a Kathy Chet thing.
Cable, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I wasn't too sure whether did they actually sleep on the beach or not.
Well, I think they did, didn't they? That's kind of what it was implied.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, they obviously know they're on the outs. I mean, instead of trying to, I guess, hang around camp, hear what's happening, maybe see if they can sneak in find a crack in the alliance boss, segregate yourself. I think that's silly, but, I wasn't there.
Well, it was interesting what we got there because, Shireen was going on still a little bit about what happened with Will. Interestingly enough, she was then abusing Will after she was complaining about being abused. I'm not going into that line of defense. But then we had Dan and Shireen's little conversation. And I loved, Dan, we've talked about this a lot, that how Dan kind of comes across as a little bit fake. And then when Dan was like, I'm so sorry. And Shireen's like, what for? For whatever made you upset.
Insert blank here.
There was an awkward pause, and he's just like, yes, for that bit that made you cry.
What about the music, though, during his confessional when he goes, I feel bad for her, but... Dun, 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 dun! The music was totally, props to the editors this week for that music cue.
Yeah. And then he gets like, Shireen's a hypocrite. I call that karma.
Yeah. Jeez, thanks, Dan.
Now look, Noah, you're our social media go-to guy. I didn't see any social media. I couldn't imagine that Dan was taken very well on social media at that point.
No, there's pictures I saw on Reddit of Dan's head on goats and Dan's head on other animals. So Dan was not loved, but was he ever loved?
I don't know, Alex.
Has he given another public apology to Shireen like he did a few weeks ago?
Well, apparently, because Dan says it's not genuine, so that's according to some people out there. Alex, your take on all things Dan. Look, Dan's not winning this game. I think we can all agree with that. But, just talk to me about Dan, Alex.
Dan is an expert on women, according to himself. And I think it's very awkward to watch him try and interact with them and go, I completely understand you. But when he called it karma for all that, it was just all a bit... I don't know. It's as I think we mentioned it during the week at some point, it's just a very awkward season at times. And he provides a lot of awkward moments where you're not quite sure how to steer around them.
I just feel either Dan's taking a lot of what Shireen says around camp in a different light, or there is a lot of what Shireen says that we don't get to see, because clearly her edit, and I don't mean this to sound in a mean way the way I put this, clearly Shireen's edit is that of a victim edit, whereas someone like a Dan and a Will are obviously, the perpetrators of abuse. Whereas if Shireen didn't have that happen to her and we didn't kind of have this edit of Shireen as being a victim of a fairly targeted attack, then maybe we would see. Because, I mean, we saw a little bit earlier of, like, Shireen and her monkey balls and monkey sex. Like, she was a little bit annoying. So, like, I'm guessing there's a lot of Shireen that we're not seeing. And
I don't think it's... Oh, sorry. I don't think it's a victim edit. I think it's an underdog edit. They're painting her as, like, she had to overcome the social awkwardness of, like, the original Monkey Ball tribe, and then on the Flip tribe with Max, and then where she got completely berated by Will. So I think it's more underdog edit rather than a victim edit.
Well, yeah, you probably put that a little bit better, because, I mean, yeah, saying it's a victim edit, I probably didn't word that correctly, but, yeah, I like that. That's a better way of putting it. I actually just want to kind of pause for a second and realise that I have got written down in front of me in my notes here a certain thing that's meant to be happening tonight, and then I've just realised that Zachary Chong, one of our avid listeners, has sent us in a message. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is our 50th Oztopsy!
Oh,
hey!
How did I not even point that out?
Do we have the banner to run through?
I can make one, but you can't run through it because you're on the computer.
Where's the cake?
I work for a club. I should get all this happening.
Oh, we should. There, God, come on, Alex. You should have shipped something down. Jared, I want you to, like, sing a Eurovision song and stuff. Can we get Boggy out?
Anybody but Boggy.
Oh, you're hurting
Alex. Bring on the cake.
I'm all about Boggy.
Oh God, have you actually started listening to a song? Because I'm sure if you started listening to it about 2 weeks ago, she might have just started singing by now. So.
Ah, true. No, I have. Just that clip took forever. Just better to get the online version without the video.
Well, thank you, Zachary, and thank you, everybody, for your well wishes, because not many people sent them in, but I didn't really advertise it, so I'm glad Zachary was counting. Anyway, back to Survivor.
2 points to Zach.
2 points, well done. We then go into the reward challenge, and we get another fucking team-based reward challenge. I'm not even going to get started on that. We had barrels and ropes. They had to make their way through the zones on the barrels. And the reward, a catamaran on the Nicaraguan coast with burgers, cheese, bacon,
vegetarian.
I swear Jeff he knows what he deliberately does it even more so for every single fucking challenge now.
Bun.
Pie.
Plates.
We're just gonna
Water.
Go to Tribal Council. Voted out.
1 in 6.
What did you think of the challenge, Jared?
I thought it was alright. I mean, it's pretty basic. That's the type of thing that what you do as a team building challenge kind of in primary school or high school or something stupid like that. So, I mean, it wasn't overly impressive. It was interesting to see sort of the teams take on their different techniques, and Mike sort of try to be the hero for the other team and just sort of do everything for them. So that was interesting. But overall, I mean, a pretty sort of basic challenge.
Got to point out, we did bring up in Cagayan a couple of seasons ago when they had the basketball shooting challenge, and we said it was favoured to Cliff. Clearly, we had the barrel rolling challenge this time around to suit Sierra. Didn't work. So, she tried. Cable, what did you think of this challenge?
I thought it was funny because Shireen sucked again at the challenge, so they had to go back. But if it only relied on Sierra and a barrel roll, then it would have been fantastic for them. Yeah, I mean, look, it was a simple challenge. Slow and steady wins the race. The red team with Tyler, or led by Tyler, they knew what they were doing and they didn't panic. They just did the basics well, whereas I couldn't believe Mike, after the challenge, was talking himself up as if no one else helped him and he was doing all the work and all that. I thought he took it on himself to try and do everything and not actually really include everyone in the team element.
Yeah.
So, I think, fuck you, Mike.
I did like Mike in the challenge when Jeff's like, Mike giving up his entire body for the challenge, and Mike's just like, I do CrossFit, Jeff.
That was funny. That was a good line.
And then I loved, I don't know who it was, he was like, love you, Dano. And he's like, I love cheeseburgers. Oh, sorry, I just had to point that out. No, what did you think of the challenge?
I really liked it because it didn't involve a puzzle, and it's kind of old school. Remember we talked on the All-Star commentaries, it's like all you need is a wooden structure, you can have a challenge, so it doesn't have to be overly complicated. I liked a simple one, and it was literally just get to the other end with these barrels. So I really enjoyed it. The only thing that would make it better if there was a giant ape throwing barrels at them on the other thing, and that to rescue someone, like the old rescue challenges they used to do. Yeah, so that's the only way they could make that challenge better, but I really enjoyed the challenge.
Alex, what did you think?
Yeah, I agree with Jared. It felt very team buildy, but I was comfortable with that. It was kind of a unique challenge. It was different, and it was entertaining to see the different kind of approaches you could take. Although now that Jared mentioned primary school kids doing it, all I can imagine is like little kids trying to figure out something like that and just stacking it off barrels. And I think that would be quite funny as well, just to completely kind of distract everyone.
I'm jumping the gun here because I know I'm going to forget it if I don't bring this up now. But in the immunity challenge, when they're all like standing there holding their thing and they cut to Rodney and the bar was like right up his neck, I didn't realise he was bending over at the time, so I thought like he was that short. Like there was that video, that photo someone's photoshopped of him on that platform, like really tall.
Do you think it would work if they literally got the barrels and they all stacked on and they just literally rolled it on the side?
Like make a car style thing, yeah.
Yeah, like they all just stack onto it sideways, put the barrels down, and just roll it.
That could have worked.
I guess you need to get a run up to do that.
And you would need to you need the momentum. You'd need the momentum, I guess, and yeah, I don't know, it could work. But yeah, in the end,
Why did they have rope?
They didn't have rope, or they did?
No, they had rope.
Did they?
How could you ever use rope in that challenge? There was literally nothing to use rope with.
Maybe it was to tie
Shireen to a barrel.
Maybe that was a strategy. Tie someone to a barrel.
Well, maybe they're gonna tie Rodney's legs together and lasso him over to the other end, and just that one by one with each contestant.
It was interesting at the end that we have like the red team. So it was Tyler, Carolyn, Will, and Dan won. And then at the end, when Dan's all like, I feel really bad because Rodney hasn't won. And Jeff's all like, well, you can give up reward if you want to, Dan. And he's all like...
This was a good Jeff episode.
Yeah, and Dan was all like, oh, fuck. And Rodney's just like, it's okay, bro. I'll get my own, bro. And then Dan's like, oh... Like,
yeah, Dan's facial expression. Cheeseburgers.
Dan's like dying because he's about to lose his cheeseburgers.
I'd be in that exact same position though.
Oh fuck yeah, those burgers looked epic. I want one now.
Like Liddy burgers.
Yeah.
I can't believe he didn't say all the fixins.
Oh, I know, because he emphasised the cheese and the bacon and the pie.
Yeah, but I love that Jeff called Dan out on his fakeness and was like, well, switch then.
Do you like that though, Noah? Like, is that Jeff becoming too involved, or do you think that's a valid thing for him to do?
I like it sometimes and I don't like it other times. I liked it during that one because he kind of just said, you can. He didn't say it. I'm not sure if I liked it in the Tribal Council, kind of jumping the gun, but when, Tyler said a really good speech, and then Jeff's like, but if they're on the bottom, they're going to flip. I thought that was too much, because Tyler had a really good comment there, and then Jeff is basically acting as a player and planting seeds in people's minds.
Yeah.
So it depends on the situation, but I didn't like that one. But I like the cheeseburger.
Cable?
No, I was just going to say, just in regards to that whole Dan switching with Rodney's situation, I mean, I think that's also the evolution of probably Jeff Probst in that the last few seasons, how often did we see in Blood vs. Water or San Juans or so, how often everyone was just giving up their awards. So I think maybe it's not something that Jeff would always do, but if someone sort of puts it out there, well, Jeff's going to go, you know what, people have been swapping now, and that's maybe the way the game's going. And do you want to offer that spot? Yeah, that's all I was going to say.
Jared, anything to add?
Not really. I agree that it's just kind of. I think it was fair for him to call him out, especially I think after last season. I suppose Jeff was kind of a bit used to everybody switching, and even though that kind of seemed to frustrate him last season, I suppose you thought, well, it hasn't happened this season yet, so why not?
Alex, anything to add?
These guys wouldn't have seen last season, would they?
No.
No.
So they wouldn't even know that the norm is to swap rewards now, and that's kind of what you're supposed to do. So I guess Jeff, after 3 or 4 weeks of doing the other one, and then doing 3 or 4 weeks of this, is like, well, do you want to just do another one while we're at it? Just been waiting and. I think patient after 7 weeks.
He got sick of it last season, it seemed, but now he's just bringing it up. He's like, oh, well, fucking then, just fucking switch. So we see camp first, and we get a good old Rodney moment, a good Rodney confessional. He's fucking pissed. He has an itchy beard. His nails are funky. He hasn't had a shower. He needs some #Rodney time. Did he actually end up having some Rodney time? I don't think we actually saw him having Rodney time. No?
I can just imagine teenage Rodney and his mum coming into his room or something. Leave me alone, Mum. I need some Rodney time.
I just love him. Just he's again. This is the most swearing-filled season ever. They've gone through their quota of mouth blurs for this season already. But you see him in a confession. He's all like, "I'm fucking pissed. I'm fucking pissed. I've got an itchy beard. I need a shave." This is just why Rodney is so...
Did he mention he was miserable?
That's just why he is so awesomely awesome. And we did, I think, Cable, you brought it up about Mike taking for the challenge. I found it interesting how he was saying that, yet Sierra's strategy, I actually thought that was really clever, and that could have worked, because if they had kept their balance, that would have been a very smart way of doing it. But, she nearly won it for them, I'd say. But yeah, the one thing I would say about Rodney's confessional, which threw me off a little bit for him maybe winning the game, was he uttered the words, "I'm running the show." And usually if you get somebody giving a confessional of, "I'm running the show," generally they're not going to win. So, Cable, Rodney's chances by saying that, not good.
Yeah, it could be a red herring though too. I mean, sorry, I agree with you, but yeah. I think any time someone sort of steps up and has that sort of prominent role and thinks they're in the box seat, that normally puts a bit of a target on themselves, and we'll see them outed very soon.
Noah?
Yeah, I can definitely see what you're saying, but I'm sure Tyson said that at one point. I'm sure Cochran said that.
Cochran over.
Yeah, that was every confessional Cochran, but maybe Tony as well. So I don't know if he will be the winner, but I don't know how much we can read into that, and I don't know who's trying to start Flint fire at the moment. But,
somebody's having some Rodney time, I think.
Yeah. That was a really messy comment, but I'll just say that I don't know if that comment has anything to do with him winning or not. Oh, I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, welcome to being on a podcast. Alex, anything to add?
I got lost and confused there with all Noahs.
Fucking Noah.
No idea where we're at now.
Yeah, Jared, do you know where we're at?
Yeah, normally I kind of agree with you and say that's sort of a downside or the start of a downfall of somebody, but I do think kind of on this season they haven't really sold many people as being potential winners, so I kind of feel like it could potentially be put in there as just an actual, we need to show that this person could potentially win. I mean, if Rodney ends up winning, they kind of need some of those moments in there.
I found it interesting. We got this whole situation of Sierra wanting Tyler out, going to Rodney and saying, "I want Tyler out." And then, of course, at the end of the episode, we saw that was what Mike and Sharim were doing. And yet, in the end, Sierra didn't vote for Tyler, did she? She was one of the ones who voted for Sharim, if I'm not mistaken. So I didn't understand that. Like, why wouldn't Sierra, if she's that gung-ho on wanting... I know she doesn't want to piss off her Lions, but... she had an opportunity there. Maybe I'm jumping the gun there and talking. We'll maybe get that to tribal. On the boat, they're having a good old time. Some epically awesome cheeseburgers. Dan's great comments. There is no Mike in team. Smell
that's
you
a
later.
hashtag.
Smell you later was so good with his hand. Like that was awesome.
That is so like early 90s primary school.
I loved Smell You Later confessional.
Oh, that was good. So anyway, anybody just chime in here on the reward? I don't know if anybody wants to talk about anything specifically. There was no immunity idol. Go, Cable.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I thought this is another reason why this was a good episode and going to the boat. Nearly everybody, apart from Will, that I ticked off on my little notebook, everyone was actually heavily involved in strategy talk this episode, where, like, even Sierra, like you're saying about trying to get rid of Tyler, and she had a couple of confessionals. Will was sitting on that boat, and he was just, like, nodding, but it was almost like he just did not give a shit, and it was like Dan, Tyler, and Caroline having this full-on discussion and just tapping Will on the shoulder, like, yeah, cool with that kind of thing. He's like, oh, yeah.
Well, that sums up Will, because at the end of this episode, when you realise that 2 people had voted for Dan, was anybody not just sitting there going, one of them was Will?
Yeah.
I just, following on from Cable's strategy comment, I loved the whole, all right, let's have no strategy talk. And then Tyler goes, well, if we wanted to, this is a pretty good time to have strategy talk. You go, oh, yeah, it could be a good time. And then I loved Dan's comment when he said, what was it, steer the course or something? And he goes, am I right? And Will goes, steer the course. And he goes, yeah. But it was just a little subtle moment, but it made me chuckle a lot.
This boat ride is just like the rest of this game.
I'm just imagining Tyler at Tribal Council now going, Will, just like, Will, you right? Steer the course. You even know who we're voting for.
He just never commented on anything, and then, am I right? Steer the course.
I swear next week Will's going to write down Vince. Just hold it up.
It is kind of interesting that we were talking about uneven editing before in what fights they show in that. Like, this was kind of the sequel to last week, and we had Shirin's reactions to what had happened, and we had Dan's reaction. You'd think they would chuck one confessional from Will in to say either I feel bad or I don't feel bad. Like, they couldn't have fitted one follow-up Will confessional.
Well, I
they were going to
go Cable.
Oh, they're going to follow. Well, Jeff followed that up at Tribal Council anyway, so that's probably, makes his an earlier comment.
Feel like Tribal Council people aren't as genuine as they are in confessional, though.
I feel. Sorry, you go, Cable.
Oh, sorry. Well, no, I was going to say that I'm sure they would have asked in producers. They would have recorded something. But again, when it comes to editing the show, I'm not disagreeing with you, Noel. But they probably thought, well, there's nothing relevant enough to put in there. Let's have it be revealed at Tribal Council.
I thought there was an inkling there when they won the award, and I thought for a moment there that Will was going to give up his spot to Shirin, but then it quickly went away. Because just the look on Will's face and the way Jeff kind of said, like, oh, you don't know how to react. I thought, like, Will was going to be like, Jeff, I'm sorry. Yep, I've got to go. I've got to...
Have you not been looking at social media over the past week?
I just thought for a moment, no. But does anyone think that Will had a hand in making those hamburgers? Because they were kind of like sandwiches.
That would be a cruel reward if they had to make the hamburgers.
Yes, your reward. Cook the beef. Kill the cow.
Like, ready for a way total flashback reference now. That's like when they had to go to Snake Island to pick up their immunity during season 1. It's like, you want immunity, swim over to that island full of snakes and get it. Like, geez, thanks, Jeff.
Cheers, Jeff, mate. Good on you, bro. Anyway, the reward's over. We go to immunity, and lo and behold, it's another one where they've got to stand around for a long time and do shit. Oh, what a surprise. I liked, so essentially they had to hold their, 25% of their body weight. We've had it before, on a weight, and then if they dropped it, they got dumped by a bucket of water. Oh,
don't get me with your bottle of water.
I loved the dream teamer in like the the preview clip where they showed what it did, and the slow motion of that guy getting dunked by water, he was shitting himself. He like bent halfway down, covered himself like he was about to be doused in like petrol. He was
maybe they told him it was going to be acid, so he tried harder.
He was like one of those people allergic to water. They
should have put a Wilhelm scream in when that happened.
Cable, where is it? Come on, stab me. Edit over the top. Oh, goodness. But, so yeah. There we go. You know our Ozcap is, that's the sound effect. We don't even need to think of one this season. But the interesting thing, we had a man and a woman would win immunity. Now, fair enough if it was 4 men and 4 women, but we had 3 women and 5 men. Cable, is that fair?
No. As soon as that was revealed, I turned to my girlfriend and I was like, no, I don't think that's... Firstly, like you said, it's not fair because the numbers are all right, but I think when you're a merged tribe and it's getting to the end and there's only 8 of yous anyway, I think that's too less a number to have 2 immunities up for grabs. I think that's when you maybe have 11 or 10 players still in the game that you maybe do that, but not this close to the end. I don't think. It was
so obvious that Carolyn's going to win that. Like, no offense to Sierra or Shirin, but we've seen how good Carolyn is in challenges. And if this was a straight-out fight to the one immunity, I think Carolyn probably could have beaten Mike. So I reckon she was the best option to beat Mike, not Rodney. No offense, I love Rodney, but
yeah.
Jared, what did you think of it?
Yeah, it bugged me that too. I do think that the numbers being uneven was stupid, and then also just how late it was. I mean, you have to think potentially you've got 2 different people winning immunity, then there's also still 2 idols in the game. So, I mean, if all of that comes out at tribal council, then there's 4 people immune from the vote, which is just ridiculous and stupid.
But also, to fill in what Jared just said, like, yeah, you got 2 idols in play, but you've also got an extra vote that Dan's got. I just think it's too much covering of too many people with only 8 people in the game. I thought it was really ridiculous, but yeah.
Alex?
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of messing from producers to try and get the result they wanted rather than kind of letting the game play out at that point.
Noah?
Definitely an attempt, I thought, to get Shirin and Mike immunity, but remember in Philippines they did this at the first merge challenge? We merged, if I'm not mistaken, with 6 men and 6 women. So why didn't they make this the first merge challenge? That would make a lot more sense. 6 men, 6 women.
We've had that before, haven't we? It's not just in Philippines. I think, was it Cook Islands did that? I know other seasons have done that.
Yeah, a few seasons
had it well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that challenge was awesome in Philippines, and it's like there's 11 people, 12 people in the game. Like, that's not too much of a big deal that 2 people are getting it, but when you're down to 8, that's a massive deal that 2 people have immunity. And this challenge, not necessarily rigged for Mike or Shirin, but this challenge is heavily favoured to, like, strong people or skinny people, because, like, 25% of your body weight, like, I'm fat and I've got no muscles, so
yeah,
that would be me out of the challenge straight away. Like,
that's so
I know
true.
Every challenge is favoured towards somebody, but it's not like I'm fat and have muscles so I could hold it.
But yeah, you're absolutely right, because, like, if you weigh 50 kilos, if you're skinny and bony, but you only weigh 50 kilos, you know, you're holding, what, 15 kilos or something ridiculous like that. I mean, that's just, you know, whatever. Most people can lift that, but, like, I'm quite more than 50 kilos. So I would be holding a lot of weight, and I'm like, you know, I don't have a lot of muscles, so I'm just holding like my left man boob.
Every challenge is in favour of somebody or other, but this one seemed a bit more in favour to, like, the skinny, strong people. Like, Joe would probably have a good time at this one.
Joe would still be there right now. He'd be holding it. And Dylan, yes, thank you, 12.5 kilos, not 15. Yeah, no, it's... I didn't like the fact that they did that. And, yeah, I mean, Mike won. Rodney nearly beat him. And then, yeah, Carolyn was always going to win it. She loved it. I loved seeing Carolyn win immunity.
That was like Jane Bright.
Yeah.
Remember when Jane beat the men at it?
Yeah. No, because she kept going, didn't she? Like...
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had that in Nicaragua too.
What about, sorry to keep butting in, but Dan's pep talk?
Yeah, is that when Jeff's like, duly noted?
Oh no, that was a good moment. But when Rodney was there and Dan was right up in his face, come on, Rodney, you can do it. Keep pushing, like constant. Dan, shut up.
No, that was who was that? Mike or was it Rodney? When he's like, not trying, succeeding, and Jeff's like, duly noted.
That was Dan.
Was that Dan? Dan, all right.
Yeah.
My bad. Okay, so yeah, we went out. Mike, Carolyn win immunity. And then straight away, were we all not thinking, well, Mike surely is going to give his idol up at this point? I think we're all thinking it. But we see Shirin scrambling. I loved it when Shirin's talking to Mike, and Mike, what was Mike doing? And Mike's like, I'm listening, I'm sorry.
I'm banging like the sand out of his shoe on the tree.
Yes. Oh, there's something the way Dan like talks like, I absolutely agree with you.
It's very Rupert-esque. It's very Rupert-esque.
But like the difference is, I find that Rupert only kind of does that in confessionals and when he's like doing an interview. Like when Rupert's like on the beach hanging with Colby or hanging with whoever, I don't think he's like that. Whereas Dan just seems to be like that, and it's almost condescending. The way he's like, you know, like
when he went up to Shirin, you seem melancholy.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Dan.
Who says that?
You're not fooling anyone, Dan.
Who fucking like there's a postman? Does he like go up to somebody's door? Here's your letter. You seem melancholy.
Like, this letter was late. I don't disagree.
But that's just karma. So anyway, scramble. Mike, Shirin. We get Mike talking about how he, might play the idol. Sorry, I might play the idol. I'm Batman. And then the big thing out of this, of course, is Tyler stealing Dan's bag, finding out the vote. Now, obviously, this didn't come into play. But I mean, Jared, it's something that people have talked a lot about. Some people don't agree with people going through bags. Other people say it's part of the game. What do you think about people stealing people's bags and going through stuff?
I think it's part of the game. I think when something like that happens, whether you've got an idol clue, or an advantage, it's up to you to have the initiative to hide that somewhere else where people aren't going to find it. You know that kind of everybody's around camp, and if you win something or have a chance of having something that could get somebody else out of the game, of course they're going to go looking through your stuff to sort of try and further themselves. So I think it's just the individual kind of has to deal with the consequences and do a good job of hiding it somewhere else.
Alex?
Poor Dan, he can't bury that as well as an idol. It's like 4 times as big. But I think it is fair game, especially if you kind of think that, well, they all would have known Dan bought some kind of advantage, and it hasn't come up since the auction. Suggests what it wasn't an advantage in a challenge, and it wasn't kind of what might be idol related, but that's about it. So I don't see anything wrong with at least having a little peek and seeing what you find.
Well, we had that last season with Keith when he got the advantage, that we weren't shown, at least on cameras. I know in sort of the exit interviews and other interviews it was brought up that they kind of knew, as somebody's got a horn or something, they knew what Keith had, but we never saw it on camera that any of them were aware of the advantage Keith had of practicing at that last challenge. But it's interesting that this, at least, Tyler's like, hey, he got an advantage, what is it? Noah, what do you think of all that?
I said last week I'm not a big fan of this whole Spy Shack listening in on conversations thing, because it kind of takes a bit of fun out of the game. And I kind of agree that extends to the bag searching. Like, I'm not a huge fan, but at the same time, it's all fair game. You can't complain too much about it. Like, there's no rule about it, so, yeah. But the way it's edited now, it's, like, never a big deal compared to, like, Catherine saying in the comment when, like, they went through Kel's bag, but now
Mad
it's
Dog
just
hated
like,
that.
yeah, and another social media fun fact, for people who didn't see it, Tyler tweeted today saying that when he went through Dan's bag, he also found Dan's manties that he that Dan said that he lost in the big wave during episode 2 or 3. So was Dan lying about losing the manties in the ocean?
Maybe he found them.
They washed up to the new beach.
All the fish spat it out. Oh fuck! Get this out of the water. Oh, what's this?
It's a fishing net.
Cable.
Yeah, if you had asked me a couple of years ago, I would be really against going through people's bags. I think that's when it's their private property. I think that's a no-go zone. But I think, in subsequent seasons, and I've probably changed on it a bit now, I think it's a game for $1 million. You know, certain people are getting clues. Like, I don't think people do it all the time. I think they know, Dan got a clue or you got something. Let's just have a quick look in his bag and have a look to see if there's anything of value there. But yeah, normally, again, if you had asked me a couple of years ago, I would be dead against it. But I mean, if I was playing, I would do it too.
It's one of these things that I find I'm surprised it hasn't happened more. I mean, maybe it has, and again, we just don't see it much. But I mean, we can all point out seasons where it's played a major part in the season. But it's kind of like the Spy Shack idea that Tony had. Like, we've seen sort of elements of it, but it's something so obvious that you would think, well, why hasn't somebody done that before? And now I
Boo Burners.
Pardon?
Boo Burners.
Yes, Mr. Boo. We love Boo.
He's the originator.
He is. He's the originator of so many things. He's the originator of half the contestants on the bloody show as well.
That's his new nickname, the originator.
Yes. And the most winningest survivor in the history of Survivor, apparently, in terms of challenges won. So,
and the scariest name.
And would we all say one of the most underrated people in Survivor?
Love Boo.
We love Boo. We're all Boo fans, aren't we?
Yep.
Kenwood. We love Kenwood.
Kenwood Boo. What was it? Isn't he the third?
Yeah, he's like Kenwood.
The third.
Kenwood Boo Burness the third, or something.
One up from Will Sims 2. Busting out.
Will Sims 2 University. Anyway, so we go to Tribal Council. We start a little bit off with the whole Shirin Will situation. I found it interesting that Dan brought up his life. Obviously, not
adopted.
Well, like, in all fairness, though, like, obviously it's not as I don't know what the word is I'm trying to look here for. It's not the same as Shirin's, but like, I mean, there's still elements there that I think Dan can say, like, yeah, look, didn't have exactly the easiest growing up, like, not to the extent of Shirin, but I mean, it was shut down pretty quickly. I don't know.
Jeff shut it down.
I know, like, it was. I don't know about that.
I think Dan. I don't think he means bad. I think he means to just explain that he's had hardships too, but every time he talks, it just comes off so self-righteous or something like that. I think his intentions are always, like, good when he talks. It just never, ever, ever ends up good. And I'll admit it sounded a bit, like, petty, but then Jeff, like, and there was domestic violence? Well, no, but... So, if we're giving him the benefit of the doubt, I think Dan does mean well, but everything he says never comes off well.
Yeah. He's a bit foot-in-mouth kind of person, really, isn't he?
Yeah.
Don't we hate those type of people? Now, I was talking about me, by the way, people, there, if you were trying to work out what I was saying there. So anyway, that fell flat. So...
I was looking at you, though, but I was looking...
Well, I hope people are looking. There's at least... Well, there was 7. Now there's only 5. They always got sick of looking at me, so they've left. But anyway. So there we kept going on. Shirin saying that Will should apologise, and Will didn't want to. That was interesting. Then Shirin basically went on a preach about being saved. Mike nodding uncontrollably. We got a cut. I just wrote this down because I thought it was random. A shot of Joe. He looked like a French pirate. Anyone notice that?
I don't know many French pirates.
Don't know any French pirates?
Well, he's part of the Outcast twist that's going to happen soon. So
Pierre Bonham. Who the hell voted for me?
Jean Robert.
Jean Robert. Yep. And then I loved Tyler's moment there, although you brought it up before, Noah. How Jeff kind of shut him down, but I love Tyler shutting down Mike. That was great. That was a big Tyler moment, Noah.
Yeah, Tyler's grown up and he's out in the world now. Like, I've always liked Tyler from day one, but he is, like, let's face it, he's a bit vanilla. He's a bit Julia Lander-ish. Like, it's not like he has these witty confessionals or anything like that. He's very in-game, strategic game bot. So I loved this Tyler moment. This is probably one of my favourite moments of the season, or at least my favourite Tyler moment. Just him finally lashing out. Like, he still did it in the nice Tyler way. Good to see a bit of character in him. I love that moment.
Tyler's like, I'm a big Tyler fan because it's interesting. I mean, going back to our preview episode, and we're not going to go too much into that, folks, but I know that we panned out a lot on Tyler, very unfairly, because it turns out that, he's turned out to be a pretty decent person in this game. And, like, I think he had that whole situation when, it's basically turned out that, like, Mike's saying, hey, everyone, target Tyler. And, like, he was so calm about that situation. Like, you can see his facial expression. He was just kind of like, oh, shit. But imagine if that was Dan. He'd be like, oh, my God. Like, his facial expressions.
Who the hell's about to vote for me?
Pierre stroking his French beard.
Is it just me, or I feel like, as much as Tyler is a great player, and if we did the rankings thing afterwards, he would maybe crack the top 150 at this point, even before it ends. But is it just me? I feel like Tyler is getting Rob C syndrome. Like, he's playing too well that he becomes too much of a target, which cancels out his good gameplay, which then makes him not as good as a player because he's playing too well. I feel like he's going to have a hard time getting to the end now with this target.
So can we
what the fuck did you just say? I lost brain cells then.
Wow. Can we just have that as a sound effect? So, like, I don't know what any one of you says. I'm just going to cable button. What the fuck did you just say?
Just Rob Sestonino.
Yeah, basically, Cable, Noah was saying that in a couple of months' time, we're going to get Tyler Has a Podcast.
Oh, okay.
Are you the translator?
Jared, did you understand what Noah said?
Yeah, man, I got it. It made sense.
Alex?
Woo!
Yeah, I did, but yeah.
What the fuck did you just say?
I do get Cable's understanding of that.
Cable? What?
Alex?
Oh, Jesus. What the fuck did you just say?
Cable. That's inappropriate.
Oh, yeah, we've just sent.
Okay. Anyway, back on track. We then get Mike dangling his idol out. Shirin's face. Didn't have quite as much scrambling going on as when Malcolm did it in Caramoan. But all right, let's start with you, Cable. Your take on the whole situation that followed. Mike putting it up there, trying to get people to scramble. Obviously, ultimately, he didn't play it, and Shirin still goes home. I mean, your take on the whole thing. Was Mike clever? Was he dumb not to play it? I mean, talk.
I thought my gut feel was that he wouldn't play it for her anyway, and it was just a bluff that he was playing. A bit like when he kind of got the idol off Joe a couple of weeks ago. Like, he said he was going to do one thing and did something else, and he played it for Will. I think he put it out there to scare the shit out of everyone and see who's going to do what. And obviously it played out that Will and Tyler voted for Dan. But, look, I just think Mike's in a position, he knows he's at the almost at the bottom now. I think he would have been really silly to keep, not waste an idol, but give an idol away to save her for what, another... the next minute he's got to go on a bigger run. So, but now everyone knows he's got it. So,
but does he? I see that. My question would be though, like, you keep Shirin in the game. You've got 2, and you're down to the final 7, which is obviously a huge swing thing.
Yeah.
You now only need to pull over 2 people onto your side. He now needs to pull over 3, or purely rely on the fact that he has to win every single immunity challenge. I mean, that's a big risk.
True. Well, and I'm not doubting that either. I just think he showed he can play this game to a point. He's made some bad mistakes, but I think he's very driven. But in that way, you have to be selfish, and I just don't think he's. I don't think he was ever really going to give that all up for Shireen. And you're right, it could ruin his game as well. Maybe he should have given it to her. I think he was just hoping enough other people, voted for somebody else that it didn't pan out that way. Look, there's so many ways you could, look at it and, come up with different theories about why he could have done this or why he should have. But I still think he thinks now that they're going to fracture, or hoping they're going to fracture, that he could probably pull two over that way. Maybe Sierra and Dan. Maybe he's still confident he can get them across the line.
Alex?
Yeah, I kind of feel he buggered it all up, to be honest. I thought, you want to have that ally there. You can kind of start eating into this alliance, and you're kind of asking a lot of yourself. Because even if he took out, Tyler as he was planning, that's one less immunity threat for him as well going forward. Because I think if you take him out, you're really only looking at Rodney as any kind of immunity threat for a lot of physical challenges. So he then, it's good to have Shireen there. I think Edmund, I feel he's more of a chance to get further. So I thought he just tried something, and his bluff got called more than anything else.
Jared?
I thought it was a pretty smart move. I do think that, to me, it kind of seemed obvious that he wasn't going to give it to her, just by the fact that if he was going to play the Idol on Shireen, why not just give it to her and give it to her sort of to keep till after the fact that he showed it to her but then took it back. I mean, that's sort of got to ring warning signs and bells that, well, if she's going to play it, then he's just going to give it to her outright instead of just keeping it kind of for himself throughout that whole thing. So I think even if I suppose he'd made some agreement with Shireen, I'll actually give the idol to you, but you're not allowed to play it, even though, then you risk that she actually plays it just anyway. But I think he did as well as he could. I don't think saving her would have been the smart option, just because I think he's in a position where, similar to kind of Joe was, as soon as he loses, people are voting for him. I think even if that group had sort of split and they'd taken one of their own out, I still think they sort of would have said, oh, well, let's get over that and come back together to target the biggest threat, which was going to be Mike. So I think having the idol for himself is sort of the best thing that he could do at this point in time.
Interesting point, Noah.
I think there's pros and cons to both. He made a fatal flaw with the whole when he tried to take the thing at the auction. That was a bad move. But I also think Mike is doing phenomenal at trying to survive and trying to switch it around. I thought his idol play was better than the hold up bro Malcolm kind of one to get Philip out. I thought this was very good because it we know how emotional Dan is, so chucking a vote onto Dan is perfect if the other people are voting Dan, because this is the best opportunity to flip Dan back, because he knows he's now going to be able to convince Dan that he is on the bottom because Dan received 2 votes or 3 votes. So I thought it was a very good move, but there's pros and cons, because if you use the idol on Shireen, Tyler goes home or Dan goes home. What would it be? Can't quite remember. Did Tyler and Dan get equal votes?
Yeah, they got 2 each, didn't they? Yeah.
Well,
yep.
If so, let's say he gave the idol to Shireen, then Dan is going to get voted out, so he loses Dan's vote. So it would probably be a bad move to give the idol to Shireen, because it would be a re-vote, and the majority would vote for Dan over Tyler, I would assume. So
each way he's bad with 1 million.
Say that again.
Each way he kind of votes, it seems he ends up with 1 minion. And kind of loses one of them's the problem with everything that kind of happened.
Personally, I think while it still could have been good, he probably made the right decision, because he can use it next week. That gets him to the final 6, and then if he can win, and he might be able to switch Dan around now. Plus, he's got Shireen's jury vote now, so I think it was a pretty good move, but he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get to the end.
I guess at the end of the day, too, is that even if next week he loses, doesn't win immunity, plays his idol, there's still going to be an idol put back into play, is there not?
Yeah, there probably would be. I'm not sure if Carolyn's idol has to be played too, then they can use a new one, but I reckon they probably would replan a one, so he could just Russell Hance it to the end.
What happened to Jens? Shouldn't there be a third one out there as well? Like that happened in Salman del Sur, remember? We randomly got one that we didn't think was there, so I'm surprised we haven't just randomly had, hey, there should be a third idol.
I think it was different because the San Juan del Sur was technically sort of there from the start. I mean, it was like the Coyopa idol, so it's a bit different because they're on a different beach, so they can't really put the Red Tribe's idol back.
Okay. Also, the Dan double vote, I feel like they thought they probably count that as an idol, so they're like, we don't need more complications.
Right, okay. Alright, so we'll ultimately the end, Shirin goes home. Alex, Shirin, you going to miss her besides the fact that you've lost money?
No.
That's
all I got. Sorry.
Okay, alright, cool. Jared?
Not particularly. Shirin was sort of one of these people where one week I'd be like, yes, let's go Shirin, and the next week kind of, I couldn't care less if she goes, and I know that we were sort of meant to like her, and I do think that she has potential to return just from the edit that she was given, sort of like how we were talking before. They didn't really show anything negative, so I kind of feel like they're potentially building her up for a returnee spot in a future season. But I mean, overall, I wasn't that sad to see her go.
Cable?
Yeah, I agree with what's pretty much just been said. I sort of didn't really love her, didn't really hate her. She was just a bit in between. She was interesting to watch. Yeah.
Cool.
No. Yep.
Oh, anything else? No?
No, good.
No?
I appreciate her enthusiasm for the game, but I've said since week 2 I wasn't a Shirin fan. She seems great out of the game. I just like some of the other players more, and she was kind of annoying at some times. She kind of turned herself around in terms of gameplay because she was pretty bad at some points, but at the merge she really switched into gear, so that was good. But I wasn't a massive fan, and I'm happy if we don't see her back on another season. But she is easily the biggest, most liked player in the fan community online. Like, everyone loves Shirin, so good for her.
They must be taking some good drugs.
Fucking love Shirin pre-season, and for the most part of this season, I was a huge Shirin fan, but just last few weeks, I've just really just gone off her. And, yeah, I agree with you, that outside of the game, yep, she seems great, but just, yeah, a lot of stuff that happened with her, it just really put me off her. So
I know it's not her fault one bit, don't get me wrong, but I just wish all the drama didn't happen with the Will and that. Like, it's definitely not her fault, but I just wish none of that happened so we could just have a happier Will and a happier Shirin.
Yep. Where there's a Will, there's a way. That was the entire Survivor fan community who loves Shirin. She got voted out. So just looking at some confessionals, we haven't had the official count updated, but in terms of what it looks like it is this episode, Dan with 6, Shirin and Tyler with 4 apiece, Carolyn and Mike with 3, Rodney only with 2, Sierra got the same amount as Rodney, a travesty. And Will didn't get 1. I forgot Will was in this episode.
Yep, the course is straight or whatever he's.
Yes. So Mike still leading. He's cracked the 50 mark now. Rodney.
He's past Tyson in Blood vs. Water.
Yeah. So if that is correct, so if he got 3, that makes him 51. So if
I had him down as 4.
Okay, well, I'm just going off this list. He's passed Natalie from last season as well. He's nowhere fucking near Tony. He's closing on Cochrane. We're not saying he's a winner, we're just saying he's just behind Kim. He's about triple Sophie. But, okay. We're not
8 times Natalie White.
Yeah, we're not going through every single winner. Okay then. So in terms of the sweep and all that jazz, Alex, sorry, my friend.
Yeah.
You're gone. You're sad.
Mixed feelings, because I didn't really like Shireen much, so I don't feel like terrible, but it makes it worse when I lost something involved in it.
Yes, well, we've only got, 3 episodes left, if I'm not mistaken, and we've only got 7 people left, so let's go through the 7 who are left right now. Noah, Carolyn, you're still on for 5th, good job.
They let me get so close and then tear my heart away from it.
Dan, still in there with Nick. We always talk about Jimmy always winning. Nick's always up there too. Like, Nick got 3rd last year, didn't he? He got 4th with Spencer.
Yeah, but he's not getting 1st this year.
Well, he might get some cash. I like it when Nick gets cash because he usually gives it to me. So, come on, Dan, get 2nd. Fucking Jimmy! He's got Mike.
Winnie.
Go away, Jimmy!
He's always winning.
Joppy's still in with Sierra, although I think that's going to Gemma if he gets any money for that. James is still in with Will. And can I just point out, Julian still has his 2 left, the prick!
Yeah, and name his 2 people.
Rodney and Tyler.
Julian. The new Jimmy.
Every single week that goes by, I mean, he's got to get to the point where he's going to have a 50% chance of getting money.
Yeah, imagine if it's a final 2 of Tyler and Rodney and just Julian wins everything.
$140 is coming his way. Oh, goodness me. All right, in terms of pre-season predictions, now, I've gotten the last 2 weeks spot on. I can tell you this week, I didn't get close. I had Shireen finishing 3rd. So, I'm leading, but I'm not going to win, I'll tell you that. Joppy had her at winning. So, no, Joppy. Paul had her at 16th. So I'm actually still the closest right now. Until Rossi comes along and puts Shireen at 4th. So Rossi's leading right now. Julian puts her at 7th. And remember, she finished in 8th. So Julian's leading. Noah,
It's not me.
You put her at 7th as well.
Oh, I thought I put her at 5th.
No, you put her at 7th.
Yeah, but there's always a but with your stupid rankings.
But Jared,
don't even.
Surely
it's
not.
not true.
put her at
Double digits.
17th.
Home screen time.
So Shireen and Julie, Noah and Julian get the point. Well done.
Shireen gets the point?
Yes, she does. Well, she probably would before Jared does.
You're such a tease, Ben. Poor Jared.
So the leaderboard, I'm still leading on 6. Noah, you've jumped up into 2nd equal with Paul. Then we've got a 3-way tie for 4th, Julian, Joppy and Rossi, and Jared. 0.
Zip.
So
I thought it was a non-elimination Amazing Race, Jared, so no points there.
Okay, so next week, who we got? I've got Mike next week.
Ooh, no, that's not happening.
No. No, you just had Shireen. Paul has got So. Julian also had Shireen, of course. Joppy has got So as well. Rossi has got Rodney. Never know.
Ooh.
And Jared, next week you have got, and I want you to remember this so I can't tease you next week, you've got Max. Oh, well, okay.
Good job, Jared.
Good job, Jared. You're doing well. Doing well.
Has he got anyone left?
Possibly.
I'd love it if his final 7 was all the first 7 out.
I don't know, actually. Hang on. Can I quickly look at that? You've got So at 6th. Will at 5th. Joe at 4th. Lindsay at 3rd. Mike at 2nd. And Kelly at 1st. So you've got 2 left.
What about other people?
Alright, we'll do this quickly.
Sorry.
I've got Mike in on, and then I've got Nina at 6, 5th Kelly, 4th Sierra. Huh? I remember that Sierra one. I remember in that preview episode, everybody was like, "Oh no, Sierra's going to be like 15th, 14th," and I'm like, "She's going to go 4th." Mind you, I did compare to Kim Spradlin. So, 3rd, I've got Shireen. 2nd, I had Joaquin, and I had the winner at Max. So I've only got, one left by the looks of that.
Oh, yeah, you're worse than Jared.
Noah, who have you got left in it still? So at 7th, there, Shireen. 6th, you've got Kelly. 5th, Max. 4th, you've got Rodney. 3rd, Carolyn. 2nd, Haley, and your winner was So.
I've got 2.
And I'm not going through Paul, Julian, Joppy, and Rossi. Sorry, they're not on the line. We don't care about them. When they're not on the line, that is. Okay, final questions. Who's your tip to win, Noah?
I still feel while there's a lot to overcome, I feel like Mike.
Oh, Max! Mike's got a lot to overcome!
I feel like Mike can take this. I think it's his game.
Alex.
Oh, God. Carolyn.
Cable.
Carolyn as well, yeah.
Jared.
Tyler.
Dark Horse, Jared.
Sierra.
Cable.
Rodney.
Noah.
I'll put Carolyn in, but I don't think she will, but she could sneak through.
Alex.
Max.
Max? Oh,
Max,
right. Funny, I get it. Who's going next week, Alex?
Tyler.
Noah?
Rodney.
No. Cable.
Hope not.
If he doesn't win immunity, Mike's gone for sure, but I reckon he might win again or he'll play
He's not an idol, though.
So he won't play his idol?
No, well, he might be dumb enough not to. No, Dan. I think Dan will piss people off next week and be gone.
Play my idol, Cable.
But we didn't speak about the clip for next week saying Rodney was talking about voting himself out.
I don't believe it. This is the same clip of 2 weeks ago when we thought Rodney was going to stab everyone, and in context, his outburst was nothing. So
yeah.
Although we did get a clip with Jen, and then she ended up not quitting, but kind of quitting.
If Rodney quits, I will cry. Jared.
5 on F.
Yes, Jared. Who's going next week?
Oh, Dan.
Oh, hello, Cable. And we don't need to go over the other ones unless anybody wants to go over them. Nah. All right, hashtag for this episode and hashtag for this episode of Survivor Oz. Let's start with Noah.
For the episode, maybe hashtag melancholy adoption, and for the Oztopsy, let's go with hashtag what the fuck did you just say?
I think that's just a universal agreement of what the fuck did you say? Cable.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Hashtag for the episode, I've got itchy beard or no mic in team. And for this one, I've got... I've done this like last week. I've got nothing now. I had something in my head.
What did you just say?
Yeah, let's go with that. But just before we finish up, there's something I actually forgot. And I know you guys probably don't follow it, but do you guys follow the channel Go on Twitter when they do their...
Oh, yes, I had a Twitter fight with Go once.
Well, they were talking about it, and they've actually since deleted it, but they were actually, as each person was dropping out of the last challenge, they were saying, Tyler out, whatever. They fucked up, and for Sarah, they actually wrote Sarah out. And I said, I'm pretty sure you mean Sarah. Oh. So, I mean, that's how unmemorable she is even to them.
Well, they could have put Kate.
Well, exactly.
Caitlin community.
But apparently, it's sometimes it can be a spell check, and they obviously don't. Yeah.
I really want
They've
to
got
like
nominal aphasia, like Tarzan.
oh, Tarzan reference. This is like a legitimate question. If anybody from Go ever listens to this episode, ever, I legitimately want to know, like, who does the tweets? Like, is it somebody who just goes home and has access to the Twitter account and like tweets, or is there somebody still at like the Channel 9 Go office? Like, I'm sure there's like a little corner in the Channel 9 offices of Go.
The Go cubicle.
Yes, Go next to Gem. Oh, could you imagine like that board meeting? Yes, welcome to the Gem board meeting. Right, this how many repeats of Friends will we show this week, guys?
What murder mystery will we have on Friday?
Is there any sacred?
Will we play Blades of Glory for the 7th time this week? Which is what my Twitter fight with Go was about.
Well, yeah, so they actually deleted that tweet that they fucked up.
Right. Oh, and actually, can I just point out, Blades of Glory ticked over my head. Will Ferrell's in the movie called The Campaign, and we've always said that apparently Boston Rob is in The Campaign. I watched The Campaign on the weekend. He is not in it unless you know where to look for him, because apparently I read online his scene got cut, but he's actually still in a long shot of the scene that got cut before him, if that makes sense. So,
I thought that was a lead-in into Minikiss.
No, Leaf's in it. You see Leaf. He's got makeup on, but anyway, like, basically there's a scene in The Campaign where like Will Ferrell's character comes down in this big like rock show introduction on a stage, and then there's this long shot of like Will Ferrell's on stage waving, and then if you look to the far left hand side of the screen you see a guy standing there with a Boston Red Sox hat waving. It's Boston Rob. The scene they cut out was that because the character, Will Ferrell's character, is trying to appeal to like public more, so he's trying to get all pop culture references, so he gets Boston Rob to introduce him because he's pop cultural and, you know, at the time relevant apparently to pop culture. So they got Boston Rob to introduce his character, but they cut that bit out, and the deleted scene is not on the DVD. But he's in the credits. If you watch the credits, he's one for you, Cable. I know you love Boston Rob. If you watch the credits, towards the end, you see Boston Rob, played by Rob Mariano.
I'm surprised he hasn't been in the movie Ted, or he might not be in the sequel.
Why would that be?
Because Seth MacFarlane's a big Red Sox fan, and they shot a whole scene at Fenway Park.
Right,
and it's Boston Rob.
But shouldn't Boston Rob have been in that one with Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore then?
That was before he was famous.
That was a good movie.
I was hoping Ted Rogers Jr. would be in the next Ted. Or reviewing the movie. I'm 150 to 200% satisfied with this movie. Ted reviews.
The campaign, the Boston Rob situation has been solved. You're welcome, Internet. Jared, hashtags.
For the Survivor episode, let's go with hashtag I am listening. And for the Oztopsy, hashtag mystery of the mantis.
That's Friday night on Go.
Alex, followed by Blades of Glory. Alex.
Go, so episode, I'll go hashtag Jeff the Strategist. And for the Oztopsy, I'll go hashtag Jared's wrong again.
Poor Jared. Okay, well, we will be back next week for Oztopsy number 51. Quite the same ring to it. And also just a few things. You know what I'm going to tease? I've been saying this now for a month and a half. The Oscars are coming soon. But I still haven't put up yet the categories and that. Considering now it's less than a month until you can start fucking voting for them. I better get it up soon. But yeah, they're coming there. This week's recap. Now, I said last week it was meant to be with Ethan. Now, it won't be with Ethan this week. We're hoping to still get him on this season. But we're going to have Leslie Nees from China will be joining us this week to do that. So we'll be doing that hopefully.
Oh, my good friend.
Your good friend. Your recap friend. So get your questions in for Leslie to chat about this week's episode of Survivor. Amazing Race Oz is coming. We're just waiting on one more thing from our Canadian friend.
Well, hot off the press, that one thing's ready.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yep.
There you go. Well, it possibly could be up very soon then. Amazing Race fans, get excited for that. Eurozvision fans, we recorded 2 more episodes today. They'll be up soon. There you go, Catherine. And also, we're hoping that the rumours about season 31/32, more than likely 31, this should be all but confirmed within the next week. I had a conversation today with a person who is rumoured to be on that, and that said person pretty much guaranteed to me that this release is going to be within the next week. I'm not going to say anything more. So
that mystery will be Friday night. I'm going.
We will have, followed by Blades of Glory. We will be doing a special episode in relation to that once it's all officially confirmed and there's voting and all that sort of stuff. So stay tuned for that as well. And hopefully commentaries will be back next week as well. Blah, 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 blah. Usual. SurvivorOz.com, Twitter, Facebook, iTunes, all the other places as well. Thank you very much for your support. We always do appreciate it. And I always do appreciate Cable you joining us on an episode. Thank you once again, sir.
No, thank you for having me.
Alex. Jesus. Alex, what the fuck did you just say, Alex?
I'm sorry, what?
Thank you, Alex, for being here.
Yes.
Good. Noah, thank you.
Thanks. I think if the quality of these episodes stay like the past 2 episodes, we could be in for a good ending to the season.
Yes.
Don't know why that was hilarious.
I thought you were referring to these Oztopsies.
Hey, they've kept us on air for 50 of these.
Jared. Here's to 4 more.
Jared, thank you.
Thank you.
We will be back next time, same time, same place. Thank you again. Thank you for keeping us on air for 50 of these. Not that you really did anything, we'll just do these anyway. So, we joke. If you don't listen, then it would hurt our feelings and we wouldn't do them anymore. But thank you very much for tuning in. To all the people watching live, to Catherine, as always, thank you. We had others joining us earlier on before as well. Dylan.
Some guy complaining about episode 3.
Yeah, fucking hell. And as always, the Visitor. Thank you, Visitor. We always appreciate your support.
I think that's me, actually.
Oh, you ruined it. Oh, thanks, Alex. Just, take away from that. Whatever.
Sorry.
Thank you again. Until next time, my name is Ben, the Tribe has spoken. We will speak to you next time on The Itchy Beards.